Alright guys, we're back in action with another episode, BMR, Season 4, Episode 2. Scratch that, not Episode 2, see I'm already fucking up. Episode 3, this time it will feature Jake Morgan. Me and Jake had a phenomenal, and I said phenomenal, boxing match back a few years ago. It was a fight of the night. He's a slugger, man. He's a badass individual, period. Also gonna be on the episode is Roy Sanders, Real Steel. Y'all know who it is. He was on the last episode and he's been on here multiple times before. So check it out, man, and see and let me know what you think, man. Share the podcast if you enjoy it. Leave a comment if you enjoy it, and let people know what time it is, man. Hey. Alright. I got Judo Jake Morgan on the phone right now. What's up, Jake?
Hey, how you doing, Jeremiah?
I'm doing pretty good, bro. So, yeah, man, I've been wanting to get you back on for a while. We talked on Facebook, here's some, and the conversations we have on Facebook would be great for the podcast, man.
Yeah.
I know, did you hear the last episode with Chandler Cole and Roy?
Yeah, I was listening to it. It was pretty good. I was wanting to hear that one part you were talking about that got lost or whatever. But I listened to what you said about it. You know, I would like to hear what Chandler had to say about some of that situation that him going to fight Ben or whatever. I would like to hear what he had to say because Uncle Chandler and been talking some shit on Facebook or whatever. So I would like to see what was said there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Chandler back on here soon when he's not sick and he's cleared up and everybody can hear him good. I hate that I lost that segment because it was good. Roy dropped some knowledge too that was pretty good. You know, Roy said himself that he don't believe the fight will happen if the contract don't get signed soon, because he thinks that Ben Rowland's going to get offers to fight, you know, in other organizations, and he'll take that, you know, and move on. Now, what's your thoughts on it? Do you think the fight will happen between Chandler Cole and Ben Rowland?
I've seen a lot of the stuff that was said. You know, I would lean more so 75% that it won't happen. You know, I know Chandler wants it to happen. I'm not sure Ben wants it to happen. You know, that's my opinion. I don't, you know, I think it's a wasteful fight for Chandler. You know, I don't think Ben realizes how athletic Chandler is. I mean, Chandler's he's not a legit heavyweight.
Right.
And I think he knows that. You know, he needs to drop weight, but I think he wants to fight some people, get it off of his list or whatever. But on the athletic side. And Chandler has some power. He's very fast. Even to be big when he's carrying too much weight. I don't think it would be a very good fight, to be honest with you.
No, I mean, you know,
anything happens.
Yeah, that's true. Anything can happen in fighting. You never know. And I don't know. I'm kind of with you on the fact that I don't believe that deep down, I don't think Ben Rowland wants this fight to happen. I think he's dodged it for as long as he has for a reason. You know, I think he knows stylistically, and styles makes fights. You know what I mean? Ben Rowland is one of them guys that comes. He's a heavy hitter, I guess. I don't know. I ain't never fought him, so I can't tell. But I guess everybody says he's a heavy-handed hitter.
Yeah.
He comes up.
He's a heavyweight. I mean, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Like, he's a heavyweight, and the majority heavyweights are heavy-handed, you know, but really, I don't see him stopping Chandler Cole's takedowns, you know. Chandler's wrestling is superb. And
I've seen that. Yeah, that one fight where he's fighting that guy, Tyrone something, that guy had him down in like 10 seconds. That guy ain't even on nowhere near Chandler's level of wrestling.
Right, I agree. And once Chandler gets you down, then it's game on at that point. The bad part ain't getting taken down. He beats the snot out of it. He's got good control when he's on top of you on the ground, and then he's good at ground and pound. You know, he lands some. He hits you with some bombs when he's got you down there on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why he's called the hammer for. I mean, he punches hard anyway. I mean, people don't understand that about his stand-up or whatever, but he's got some power. He's got some hands. his wrestling is just, that's his background, and that's what he does. And but you sparred with him, I sparred with him. I mean, he's got some hands. I mean, Ben thinks that Chandler couldn't stand with him. He's mistaken in that. He's not struck with anybody like Chandler, I don't think.
Right. No, I agree. I think people.
Dustin. I mean, but Dustin, when I watched that fight, I mean, I thought Dustin was getting. I don't know if Dustin punches as hard as Chandler. I don't know. I'm not sparred with Dustin, but I know Chandler's got some power.
Well, the thing with Dustin, like, I don't think he's got as much like power, but he's got that long reach, and it's kind of like a whip. You know what I mean? Like when he whips it stings. You know what I mean? You feel it if Dustin connects.
Yeah. Well, you said he was a lot more athletic than he looks like he was.
Oh yeah.
About that.
Yeah,
but he looks athletic anyway.
Right, and the thing about Dustin Long, if he was an aggressive fighter, like if his mentality was kill, he would be vicious. And I know this from experience of, me and him had beef one time. And there was a point that we was going to schedule a fight, but it didn't happen. So we was like, let's meet up and then box, and we'll settle our difference that way. You know what I mean? And it wasn't friendly.
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna meet up and we're gonna see what the deal is, So I went up to his gym. It's just me, him, and another guy and a little kid there. And me and him got in there and put the boxing gloves on. And Dustin was Dustin. He kind of laid back and let me work. And I was throwing. I was trying to knock his head off. I hit him with one good right overhand. And after I hit him with that right overhand, it woke him up. He got aggressive then, and he hit me with either a jab or a right cross, one of the two, and it busted my nose up pretty damn good, and I ain't gonna lie. And so I brung the aggression out of him. That's the thing with Dustin. Like, if you hit him good, if you rock him or something, he will get aggressive at that point. You know what I mean? That's when you kind of wake the beast up, If he fought like that all the time, he would do some serious damage. But it's, like you say, it's two different animals. I think Chandler could honestly beat Ben Rowland on the feet. I don't even think Chandler would have to take it down to the ground. If he really wanted to make a statement, he could possibly just stand and bang with Ben Rowland and beat him that way.
I agree. Chandler's got, I actually taught Chandler how to throw his overhand, and he's got a mean overhand, and he's got a mean left hook too. I mean, me and him used to work on that when I first started that training at the gym, and he got those two punches down pretty good. And Chandler is long, even though Chandler is about 5'10"-ish,
Yeah.
I think his reach is in the 70s, so, I mean, his reach is long. He's probably got like 74-inch reach, even though he's just 5'10". I mean, he's got long arms.
Yeah, and he's an explosive guy, period. That wrestling has made him very explosive, so he can close the distance quick, you know what I mean? Which is a good thing to have as a puncher.
Yeah, something I've noticed about Ben, too. He keeps his hands down, and he drops that right hand every time he goes to get it. If he did that and Chandler catch him with the left hook, I mean, he's probably going to go down,
Yeah, that is true.
Point, I mean, big guys, I mean, you can take so much on the chin and stuff, but, I mean, any heavyweights, they got to be able to knock another heavyweight out. There's something about those guys. When you got a guy that weighs over 200 pounds and a guy that weighs under 200 pounds, just because they weigh over 200 pounds, they just got more. It just seems like they got a little bit more pop behind the punch. To me, it does.
Right. And that's the thing at the heavyweight division. Some people say it's the most unskilled weight division, but at the same time, it's the most dangerous. Because all it takes in the heavyweight division is one punch, and it can be not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've told you, I've told you before that out of all my fights that I had, heavyweight, when people talk about heavyweights being the easiest, I'm like, the only people that say that have not fought at heavyweight. But I fought in 3 different classes, and 185 for me was by far the easiest because I was always bigger than the other guy. And 205 was just a wasted cut, when I made 205. And then when I fought heavyweight and boxing a few times, I was like, these guys have got some pop, and they can. But then the thing was too is heavyweights can take it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, so I was like, I'm not a legit heavyweight. Yeah, I punch hard, but it still takes a lot out of me because I'm fighting a guy that's he's probably not going to have to because he can probably take more than I can. I don't think I could take my own punch. I think it would drop me. So.
You do got a mean right overhand. You got a mean when we fought in our boxing match. I'll be honest, and I've told you this before too. I was underestimating. I thought you was a grappler. I was like, "There's no way this grappler is going to beat me in a boxing match." That was my mentality going into it. And you know, I hit you with the right overhand, and I thought I hurt you, but I didn't know for sure, you know, so I was kind of hesitant about trying to follow up, and then boom, out of nowhere, you hit me with a right hand. And I'll be honest with you, I felt a tingling sensation go down my spine when you hit me with that right overhand, so you definitely got a mean right overhand.
When you caught me in the first round, the thing that got me, it caught me right on the butt. I mean, you know, and I realized that I could take a punch at that point, but you come at me so hard, you know, that I was like you just come over here to fight, you know. And I was like, I got to get his respect. So I just let one go. I was like, hell, we'll just see which one of us gets knocked out. That's what my mentality was at that point, you know. Like, there ain't no running from it. You're in here, so we got to go.
Right. That's what my best friend from Michigan said when I was talking about her fight or whatever. He was like, yeah, that really wasn't a boxing match. That was just a brawl with boxing gloves on.
That was. I mean, it was. I mean, and, you know, it was a good experience for me, and I'm glad that I got to experience it with you. And I'm glad we became friends, you know, after. Yeah. I mean, you and me, we talk on Facebook. We talk about a lot of these fighters and what our opinion is, and you and I agree with a lot of things.
Right.
You know, that we discuss. And
we have
attitudes toward fighting, you know.
Yeah, we're very similar in the way we look at things and our opinions.
I mean, it's just, I mean, you know, something I'll bring up. I mean, it was a post I posted the other day, and it was about all these guys and these fell on steroid tests. And the amateur level back home, I mean, there's guys that's using up every freaking word, man. I mean, I never done that shit. And I agree with what you told Chandler when they was talking about it, because he was talking about my post, I think, on your last podcast.
Yeah.
And to me, if a guy has to take testosterone for his family and all that stuff, and that's fine. But I agree with you. He shouldn't be fighting then. If all that shit is more important, then fighting should be secondary. And if he can't fight the right way, then he shouldn't be fighting.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's cheating. I mean, all it means to me is that you're not good enough. If I had to take steroids to beat you in a fight, it means I'm not good enough to beat you.
Right.
That's what it means to me.
And what is your views on supplements? You know, you got all these supplements, and to me, all a supplement is a synthetic steroid. You know what I mean? That's my view on it. I think that's cheating as well. So how do you feel about supplements?
I mean, I get all my protein and shit from chicken.
Right.
I mean, when I had to cut weight to get to 185 and fight, I mean, and me being 40 years old, I could only eat 2 pieces of chicken a day, and everybody's like, well, you're eating wrong. Well, I'm a poor boy, too. I couldn't afford eating that 5 meal time a day shit. I can't afford that. You know, so I eat 2 pieces of chicken a day, run 6 miles a day, and get down to like 190 and still have to sit in the sauna and cut the shit out. You know, so to me, if I was taking supplements, I probably wouldn't make the weight. You know, so I don't understand it. You know, people they want these advantages, and it just means you're not good enough. You know. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing that Chandler hit on as well, football and baseball and all these other sports, and when you perform at the NFL level and stuff like that, you need supplements for recovery. I think that's part of being human. I think everything should be the natural. I think football, anything that involves physical contact, I think you shouldn't have an unfair boost, you know, an unfair advantage, whether it be supplements, steroids, testosterone. Because your goal is to damage the opponent. So, you know, I think it should be as even as possible. It'll never be an even field because everybody's skills are different. Everybody's unique. Yeah. But you know what I mean, though. You know, one person shouldn't be able to use these supplements to get this boost while another person isn't, you know?
Yeah, I agree that you actually, what your body's doing, I agree with what you said on that. When you need rest, your body's saying, hey, you need rest, you know, rest.
Right.
And when you're taking steroids, you just keep on pushing through it. I still train. I actually train more now than I did when I fought. And a couple weeks ago, people, you know, my takedowns have gotten a lot better, you know, since I've done Judo so much the last year and a half. But people were like, hey, we got tournaments coming up, Jake. Will you come in and do takedown with us? And it was like 5 days straight. And my back was just killing me. I had to lay on the heat pad. Now, my body's way of saying, hey, calm down and take a day off.
Right.
Because I can't train 6 days in a row.
True.
The only people that can train 6 days in a row are people that's taking juice and stuff like that. I mean, you're better off to have rest days. I mean, that's just your body's way of recuperating.
Exactly. And you're breaking your body down, pushing it to the limits anyways. Your career's going to be shorter in the long run than it would if you was doing it the natural way and resting how you should. Now, I got to take a brief intermission and then we'll be right back and we'll keep this going.
Okay.
All right, we're back. We was talking about the supplements and the steroids and sport. I got a question for you, Jake. Before you hang it up for good in MMA, or will you do a professional MMA bout?
I've actually asked people, and I was contacted with a couple of fights too at the time. And at the one time I wasn't training, I thought, well, and I moved out to Omaha, and I was just going to get started, and the job was the most important thing to me. And I turned it down, and it's a fight that I would take. And there's a few fighters that I would take. I actually asked Ken about fighting pro on his show, and he said he would rather me fight amateur at least one fight first. And I was like, I don't really care to fight amateur anymore, especially if I'm going to travel from Nebraska to come back home and fight. I mean, it's going to cost me money to come back home and fight, so I at least want to break even,
Right.
And I think that it's a waste for me to fight an amateur. I mean, I'm not trying to say that I'm no great, I'm not going to UFC or no bullshit, but I think at the time when I fought amateurs at 185, I think I was one of the top 185ers around the region, so I think I can hold my own with some of the guys at even 205, and maybe even some of the heavyweights, if I don't want to cut the weight. But it's according to it is, I mean, I wouldn't want to fight a big wrestler that's juiced out on steroids, get 240 pounds at heavyweight.
Yeah.
You got to be a little smarter. But I would like to do it one time.
Well,
I got offered a boxing match at 175 pro, and I was like, that's not happening. So I know that I wouldn't be a big cruiserweight, but I can make under 200, and I think I'm powerful enough to box at under 200. So.
I agree. And I don't understand why Tim would want you to fight one amateur unless it was he's wanting to get a feel for what you bring to the table as far as ticket sales. Maybe he'd want to do that to gauge you on ticket sales and, how you, and he meaning like, he wouldn't know how much money to offer you as a pro, is what I'm assuming, but
yeah.
You would sell tickets.
Well,
I would, so definitely since you've been in Nebraska.
I always sold at least 30 tickets at least. I mean, sometimes 50, 70, more. It's scored, I think, especially if I've been off for a while and I come back home, I think I would sell a lot.
I agree too. It'd be like a big homecoming thing. I think it would benefit you more on ticket sales if you made a trip back home for a professional fight. Plus skill wise, and I think you deserve a professional fight. Hopefully it happens someday. I seen you post on Facebook here recently, talking about, what was it, a criminal being like hiding in a house and the cops letting the dog loose and the criminals not giving themselves up. They letting the dog come find them or whatever. And that reminded me of a funny story. When I was, I guess, 13 or 14 years old, me and my friends used to go out in town skateboarding all the time. There was 3 of us. We used to go out in town on our skateboards at like midnight, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning and skateboard around town. Well, the cops, it was a small town. They got to know us pretty good. They would see us and we would always run from them. And majority of the time we would get away. I mean, we did this almost every other night. They knew us by name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They never would catch us. Man, we'd see them at football games and stuff and they'd talk to us and, whatever, cut up with us, but they never did catch us when we'd run from them. But one particular night, me and my other friend, Jay Morris, we was skating at this gas station, and it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and there was a back street across the road, and I just so happened to look over, and I see a cop car with his headlights off, and I holler, cops. So we run under this road, and there's this tunnel under this road. There's 2 tunnels, and we run through one of them. And as you run through the tunnel, it's got water in it as well. As you run through the tunnel, it gets smaller and smaller when you're going through it. And I'm a big guy at the time. I weigh more than I do now. I was like probably 320 pounds or so. I was big. I was athletic and fast and stuff, but I was bigger than I was now. And, my back hit the top of the tunnel and I fell down in the water. My friend kept running, which I don't blame him. I would have too. And he jumped the fence. He got away. Well, as I went to go out the tunnel, as I picked myself up and went to run out the tunnel, I hear freeze. So I run through the other side of the tunnel thinking, well, I'm going to make my way back out the other way and get free, you know. But as I'm running halfway through that tunnel to go back out the opposite way, I hear a cop from that end. So they got me pinned in. One of them yells, come out or we're going to let the dogs loose. I immediately put my hands up, like, all right, I'm coming out. I gave myself up, you know, they had me surrounded and they had dogs and shit. I wasn't even going to test it, you know what I mean? So I came out, my hands up, and that was
That's
that.
a good decision, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, I was 13 at the time. Even now, though, if it would have happened, I still would have came out my hands up, you know. I'm not going to sit there and try to fist fight no German Shepherd, you know what I mean?
Well, the difference is, I mean, even us being fighters, I mean, we are tougher than the normal person. I mean, people that watch us shoot on TV and they watch this Steven Seagal and they go lift weights and they think they're a bodybuilder on steroids and all this kind of shit. We're used to being choked. We're used to being punched. It's a different. I mean, if they come in the gym, I mean, they're a joke, really. I mean,
yeah.
They have no chance. I mean, they have a snowball chance in hell. Like I said, pop shot chance of winning. But I know that I don't want to fight no dog, especially a police dog, because that dog, it ain't about what, like, you know, making a conversation or anything with you. It's about kicking your ass. That's the only reason that it's coming in there is to kick your ass and drag your ass out of there. You know? It's not going to give you a pass.
Yeah, it ain't got no sympathy.
Get it.
Yeah.
And I don't want that.
Right, exactly. I mean, I have my skateboard on me. I probably could have beat it in the head, but still, I don't want to take my chances. You know what I mean? Man dropped his skateboard, then he screwed.
I just made it mad.
Yeah. Yeah, but we got shot because they treat their cop dogs like a damn cop. So if I go hit the cop dog with a damn skateboard, he might shoot me at that point, you know?
Yeah. I just seen that, you know, the other day I was watching it on Cops and he's like, we're going to let this dog loose. And they just always, the idiot is in there, like, the dog's not going to find you, you know, like it's going to find you. And when it finds you, it's your ass then, because it's going to bite you.
I had a uncle, well, he's dead now, he died in a car wreck when I was younger, but back in the day when I was a kid, he was a pretty notorious guy around town. I ain't gonna say his name out of respect, and I'm telling this story, but he was down in the drug game, I ain't gonna lie, and he had this friend, his name was Max, and he was a big time dealer from Knoxville, Tennessee, and I'm not gonna give out his last name either, I'm gonna leave it at that, but his friend Max did 15 years, I think either 10 or 15 years in prison for shooting a cop dog. That's a long time for shooting a cop dog. In his mind, he's like, fuck, I ain't letting that dog bite me. I was going to shoot the motherfucker. But he ended up spending a big part of his life in jail for shooting a cop dog. So they treated it as is almost as bad as him shooting a cop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't want to spend no 15 years in prison.
No, I'm with you on that.
I couldn't deal with that shit. I'd be like a caged animal in there. I couldn't deal with that. What's the difference in living in Nebraska compared to Southwest Virginia? What's the pros and cons? The big thing, well, everything's closer. You know, in Omaha's pretty big. Omaha's the biggest city in Nebraska. Probably looking 700,000 people-ish in Omaha. I only live 3 miles from work. I only live 6 miles from the gym I train at. My gym has produced some UFC fighters. Actually, Jake Shields was originally from our gym.
Well, I didn't know that.
There's been 9 of them that went to the UFC and moved on. You know, so our gym is pretty big, but it's not. You know, it's not no AKA or anything, but it's like mid-level size. One thing I noticed in training there, ground game people are legit here. I mean,
different levels.
Guys that are purple belts here would be black belts back home.
Right.
It's a big difference. It is. And that's one of the things I've noticed about training. I actually did do some kickboxing with them. You know, I'm not much of a kickboxer. I don't particularly care for it, but I did do some kickboxing, and actually the guy that does the training for the kickboxing, he was the guy that started Muay Thai in the United States. The guy that they're under.
That's cool.
And our gym affiliation is actually Rodrigo Vargi, and he's a black belt under Hicks and Gracie, and my instructor is a black belt underneath Rodrigo. So, you know, we're kind of affiliated with Hicks and Gracie in a branched off kind of way.
Right.
But they're very legit on the ground.
Well, that's cool, and yeah, that's the thing you get. You get like a better quality training in them bigger cities. You know, that's where majority of the world class fighters come from. Like, you know, Albuquerque, New Mexico, or Los Angeles, California. You know, it's big cities, man, because there's more people and there's more, you know, to work with. When you come from like a rural area like Southwest Virginia, I mean, you ain't got the variety of sparring partners and people to train with. You know what I mean? It's very limited, your resources.
Yeah, I miss training with my old friends, you know, Martin, Nick, you know, Steele, Cole, Mays, Gary. I miss training with those guys.
Right.
But the thing, you know, we would always hit, me and Nick always train. Me and Nick always train 2 days a week with each other, even if everybody else couldn't make it. Me and him train with each other. Because we like the judo and the jiu-jitsu more probably than anything else, and we always make time for each other to train. And, you know, but still we got used to training with each other, so. But out of the gym now, I mean, I might go there and there might be 20 people.
Right.
Sometimes there might be 4 or 5, you know. There's nights it's hit or miss, but there could be times that there's 20 people, and we go for an hour, you know, whatever. We do train in a gi mostly now. I mean, that's a little different. I'm not used to it. I had to get used to that because I was getting choked out with the gi a little bit. I had to find some defense for that. But I actually do frustrate people where, I guess what I did was more catch wrestling than jiu-jitsu. And I still frustrate them a little bit with that. I do a lot of arm trapping and stuff like that. You know, we've discussed that. My style is a little different than other people's. So.
Right. And one thing I noticed about training in the gi when I used to do it at Casey Oxidine's gym is it's a good workout in the sense that I think it makes your grip stronger, your forearms stronger. Like when you're ripping and pulling at the collars and at that gi, I noticed the very first day I did it with a gi, like I felt I burned my forearms and my grip out. Like I felt it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it helps your defense, I think. But
yeah.
I don't, particularly, you know, I would rather train without it. You know, to train at the gym and go by the rules, it's fine. You know, I pretty much don't use it when I got it anyway. So.
Right.
Other people just use it on me. Try to.
All right, we're gonna take one more small break and we'll come back and finish up with some good stuff, man. All right, be right back, guys. All right, we're back with the final stretch. Okay, one thing I wanted to ask, I want to get your opinion on, Jake, is we've hit on it a little bit earlier, but what's your prediction for the Dustin Long and Ben Rowland Muay Thai bout? Now, this Muay Thai will be professional Muay Thai. I'm not sure how long how many minutes are in a round or how many rounds they fight, but how do you see that playing out?
Well, I don't know either about the rounds. I don't know if Dustin will knock him out or not, but I think Dustin will beat him convincingly. I don't know if he'll knock him out because Ben looks like a big, strong guy. I mean, you know, he does. But he may get tired, too. It's different than MMA. I mean, you know, boxing, kickboxing is different. Because you're either punching or you're getting punched.
Right.
He's carrying so much muscle around that I don't see him being able to push the pace that Dustin could probably set. I mean, I don't think he'll win. I think Dustin will beat him at least by unanimous decision.
Okay, you got Dustin by decision. That's the same way I went with it. I think it's going to be a decision for Dustin. Also, you know, something that's been in the news a lot lately, and it's starting to die down a little bit, but I always kind of wondered your opinion on it. I would assume it's probably close to mine, but how do you feel like people kneeling for the flag, Jake? What's your opinion on that? For like the NFL players kneeling during the national anthem and stuff.
You know, I try not to get into it too much. I really don't. I mean, I was a Marine. You know, me personally, I wouldn't kneel for the flag. You You know, that's just personal preference that I wouldn't do it.
Right.
But, you know, I fight for the freedom and stuff for people. So, I mean, I think now it's got to the point where these people just want attention for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't do it personally, but, I mean, it's free country, you know. So, if they want to protest, I think the flag actually brings us together as a people. And to me, I don't think, the way I look at it anymore, you know, I would like to see how many of us are 100% of whatever we are. I mean, you're not 100%. I mean, we've talked about it. I'm not 100%. I mean, my family migrated from, you know, Turkey. They took Cherokee wives and stuff. We get, you know, we're Melungeon. We got different. We're mutts. There's nobody that I would hate to see that I would just about guarantee that less than 1% of the population is 100% whatever ethnic group they are.
Right.
So, but you know, if they want to do it, then I really don't give a shit. But I wouldn't do it personally, you know.
And you're kind of on the same boat as me. My thing is, look, I'm all for protesters. If you want to speak out on a certain issue, then go for it. And a lot of some people try to make it an issue, like they're disrespecting the soldiers who died for. They're not trying to disrespect the soldiers, I think, by kneeling. But at the same time, it's the wrong time, I think, to protest. You know what I mean? Because
I agree.
I mean, this is. Yeah, there's a lot of racist stuff that goes on in America. There's a lot of flaws with this country, but at the end of the day, this is still the best fucking country in the world. Go to another country and see if you can make multi-millions playing football, NFL, or, you know, basketball, or whatever, and see if you get the opportunities that you get in America. You know what I mean? It's a different ball field. At the end of the day, this is still the greatest country in the world.
Well, the thing that I tell people, and I mean, I hate to, you know, quote some Michael Jackson bullshit or something like it, but the truth really is that if you want to make the world a different place, start with the motherfucker in the mirror.
There you go.
I mean, really. I mean, that's what you need to do. I mean, you strive to be a better person. I fall short all the time of wanting to be a better person. We've discussed this. I mean, I've got fucking mental issues. I mean, I do. That's the reason I still train. Is because if I didn't train and release that out here on the street, I'd choke the shit out of people all the time.
Right.
I'd be in jail, you know. So
right.
I understand that, and that's the reason I continue to train, and it keeps me on an even keel and keeps me being a nice person. And that's what I try to do, and that's how I do that, you know.
That's one thing people don't realize. Like, I try to do an MMA show at Gate City High School. They got a gym, a basketball gym that would be perfect. They turned it down. It's like, no, we ain't allowing no fighting here. And it kind of pissed me off because Gate City is a big football school, and it's a violent sport, and just as violent as fighting, if you ask me, as far as concussions.
Maybe worse.
Maybe worse, you know what I mean? Maybe worse. And people don't understand that fighting is a positive outlet for negative people. Like, people that has got, like, I got a bad temper. I got a huge bad temper. Before I started doing MMA, I was headed down a real bad path. I was selling drugs. I was fist fighting and trying to, you know, be gang related type of bullshit. I was acting ignorant. You know what I mean? I was stupid. Then I started fighting and training, and I got humbled. I had a 125-pound wrestler in Kingsport humble me real quick the very first time I trained with him. You know what I mean? So I was like, damn, this guy's 125 pounds whooping my fucking ass. I thought I was Superman. And then I come here and get my ass whooped by this little guy. So it calmed me down in life. If it wasn't for MMA and fighting, I'd be like you said, I'd be in prison or in jail for choking somebody. I still might. I know I ain't out of the woods yet and I still got a bad temper, but it has brought me a long ways.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I got picked on when I was a kid, you know, and then one day I was like, you know what, win, lose, or draw, it's on. And, you know, I started boxing when I was young. That's the first thing I did, and I did some Greco-Roman, and then I did some catch wrestling, you know, and then I moved on later on, and they asked me to come back and asked me if I wanted to fight some of the guys and help Chandler actually with his stand-up, and then it just led, you know, I just fell in love back with it, but it helped me because there was a few years there that I didn't give a shit. I mean, I'd be at softball tournaments, people running around, I'd be like, let's get it, you know. And I knew how to fight a little bit, so it was bare fists, and then, you know, bare fists, that's a different ball game. Yeah. I mean, if somebody knows how to throw a punch, 2 or 3 punches, it's over.
It does damage, yep. Yeah.
And I was like, you know, they even told my mom, like, to some of the police, they're like, he's going to go to prison if you don't, you know, so it helped me to calm down, you know, going back to it. So I'm just going to keep doing it until the wheels fall off, man. I mean,
right.
You know, whether I fight or not, I'm going to stay in shape. I mean, I train, I run a 5K a couple times a week. Lift. I'm not no damn bodybuilder. You know, I don't care to be no bodybuilder. All that, I think all that muscle gets your ass wet.
Right. Yeah, that's just to look good.
I lift just a little bit just to stay in shape and train 3 days a week if I can. Because if I get offered the right fight, and we've discussed it, you know, if I get offered the right fight, I'll do it. But
right. I always want to.
It's got to be a fight that I'm going to be that I'm going to be competitive and they're going to be competitive. Like the Brian Mullins fight, I really wish I wouldn't have done that fight, but you know the history there.
Right.
Him running his mouth, and I was just like, you know,
it needed to be done.
I agree. I mean, you know, it shouldn't have happened, but he just ran that mouth so long, and he was like, I fought the best people around. And I was like, well, you ain't never fought nobody like me. And he said, well, we'll see. I was like, okay, you'll find out. You know, like I'll be on your side of the cage when they say go. And that's what happened. You know, I mean, that's just. I don't think he was ready for that either. You know?
Right, and I told him, I was like, dude, if he beat me in a boxing match, you don't stand much of a chance. Because it kind of pissed me off that he thought he could compete with you after you beat me. I was like, Brian, you know you're not better than me, motherfucker, and you think you're going to go whip him?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, he's not even on the same level as a lot of people, not
right.
Much less mine or your level. I mean, he's not there, you know.
No, and I used to
I even told people on post, you know, like, because I know that you've had shit happen on Facebook on post. And I've always told them, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you go to fight Jeremiah, you better be there to fight, because he's going to be you there to fight.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I always try to show up. My biggest thing is, I got a temper, and I'm strong opinionated. And I've always been the type of person, this has been bred to me ever since I was a little kid. I've never changed. This is how I've been ever since I was a kid. If somebody says something to me that's like I feel they're trying to pump me out or whatever the case might be, I'm going to respond. I'm not a bitch. That's how I was raised. I was raised not to be a bitch. You know, my mom raised me. If somebody disrespects you or punks you out and you don't do nothing about it, I'm gonna whoop your fucking ass. You know, my uncles and cousins used to they'd be like, you better stand up for yourself and not be no pussy. You know, we ain't raising no pussies around here in this side of the family. You gonna stand up for yourself and you gonna handle business. Regardless if you get your ass whooped or not, at least try to handle your business and take up for yourself and let it be known you ain't no bitch. You know what I mean?
Well, that's exactly when I was getting picked on. I would go home every night and I would lay awake thinking to myself, I should have done this, I should have done that. I got scared, you know. And I get scared before I get in the cage. I even get scared before I do judo or anything, you know. But then there's another part of me that says, like the alter ego part, that says, listen here, pussy, you ain't backing down shit. You're going to go in there and fight. You know, win, lose, or draw, you're going to do it.
Right.
You know, and that's when I stood up for myself. After I did that, you know, like you said, win, lose, draw. I went home, man, and I slept like a baby.
Right.
I didn't think, well, I should have done this and I should have done that. I thought, hey, I did what I should have done, you know.
Yeah.
If you get somebody every bit of you that there is to get of you, they'll leave you alone.
Right. Even if you lose, if somebody's trying to push your buttons or pick on you, whatever, even if you at least get one good shot in and they whoop your ass, at least they know, by God, next time they do it, it's going to happen again. You just got to let them know, look, I'm not your punching bag. You're not just going to pick on me. And that goes for kids. I don't know that any kids watches my show. I hope not, because I'm pretty crazy. But if there are any kids that doesn't watch or listen to this, don't let nobody pick on you, man. Don't go be a bully and pick on people. At the same time, if somebody's picking on you, man, handle business, you know. If I ever have a kid, I'm going to be real strict on teaching my kid at a young age, how to box, wrestle, and whatever, MMA in general. I'm going to teach them, because my family's always taught me not to be no bitch, and I'm going to pass it down, you know. Ain't going to be no bitches in this family. If you got that Harper last name, by God, you're going to represent, you know what I mean?
Well, but, you know, actually, like, talking about, too, like, certain things, like, our fight, you know, when we fought each other, and I believe it made a lot of people respect us both.
Yeah.
For seeing, you know, what we done to each other. I think a lot of people were like, hey, these guys are both tough as hell. And I know that, you know, Roy, after the fight, Roy, he told me, I don't know if he remembers it, but he just came up to me and he was talking to me. He's like, you're 185 days are probably over. He said, I'm not going to find you a fight, bro. And I was just like, you know, which at the time I was like 203 or 204, you know, whatever it was. Because I don't walk around at 185 is what people that didn't understand, you know, and there's comments on there about that. Roy's like, he's a heavyweight. And I was, you know, because I walked around at 215, you know.
Right.
But I think that our fight put a lot of respect for both of us from a lot of people. You know, it was like, hey, these guys went in there and they threw down and they put on the damn show. And I mean, I think we actually stole the show that night. If it would have been a bigger venue, I mean, I don't even, it was already wild as shit.
Right.
You know, if it would have been a bigger venue and would have had some, because, you know, the only videos that we got of it is my videos that you can't hardly see.
Yeah.
Shit. I wish that we would have had a good video. I really wish we would have. Because I believe that shit would have been on YouTube over, you know, people been watching that shit. Right.
If I'd have been on national television, I'd have been like Hagler and Hearns or whatever his name was. You know what I mean? It'd have been one of them legendary brawls that everybody would have loved, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's people's favorite fights sometimes. It's you don't have to be the most technical. It just has to be two people that just goes all out, you know, and leaves it on the line.
You know, the thing is, like now we've become so good friends because you and me, we talk at least once every couple of weeks. You know, we message back and forth on Facebook. You know, I couldn't even look at you the same way. I couldn't look at you and want to fight. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want nothing but good things for you. You know, that's a hard thing for me to distinguish. I see these guys sometimes have to fight their training partners in UFC and shit. I couldn't do that. I just couldn't do it. I don't think.
Right, and I'm the same way. You gained a lot of my respect. Like I said, I doubted you going into the fight. I thought you was just a grappler. I didn't know you had boxing. I didn't know you had, I didn't know you had a mean right overhand and could box like you did and fight like you did. So you definitely gained a lot of my respect. And you was the nicest guy. I tell people this all the time. Like you before the fight, you was coming up being nice, and I really don't like it usually. You know, I thought when me and Jay Page fought here recently, he came up to me, was hugging me, and I hated it. I hated it. I was like, I don't like this shit. I want to hate my opponent. I don't want to like him, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't know that. I wouldn't have come up to you, you know, until after if I would have known they'd say, you know, because I know it makes you a little bit. There's a few people out there that, you know, and Nick even said, he said I had the skill, but I wasn't just mean enough to fight. But there's a few people out there make an exception for it. Right. You know, we've discussed that. So.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, Jake. I'm going to have to wrap it up before time runs out, brother. I appreciate you coming on, though.
I appreciate you having me. It's good to talk to you. I didn't talk to you before. I appreciate it.
All right. I'll holler at you here in a minute on Facebook.
All right, man. Later.
All right, later. All right, guys. Once again, I want to thank Judo, Jake Morgan, for being on the podcast. Sorry that I had to kind of rush him off at the end, Jake, if you're watching this. Sorry I had to rush you off at the end because I was running out of time on that segment. I hated that I had to rush you, but I didn't want it to cut out on you and we not get to wrap it up on the podcast. So appreciate you being on the podcast. It's always fun talking to you and good because we, like you said, we think a lot in a lot of ways. Our opinions are very similar a lot of times. So it's always good talking to you and having you on. And like you said, I got the utmost respect for Jake because, you know, we fought each other, but he's also one of the coolest and nicest guys that I've ever met, as well. He's a good dude overall. Jake is a great person. I also would like to see him fight professionally. I'd like to see him retire as a pro because he is a pro level fighter. Once again, I appreciate y'all stepping in. It's season 4, episode 3 with Judo Jake Morgan. My boy, we had the war. It was like the Thriller in Manila in Wise, Virginia. You know what I mean? It was good times, man, a good memory, and now I got a great friend from that experience. So I appreciate you, Jake, and appreciate y'all for stepping in and checking me out, man. Hey.